You're what's good, y'all? It's your boy Zaho Facts, and this is Talking Sporty. Hope everybody doing good out there, man. I just wanted to come holla at y'all today, to talk some hoops, man. I wanted to talk about some NBA stuff, with y'all, and talk about the draft. I know I'm a little late to the party, but I like to kind of wait till things settle themselves before really talking because I'm not one of those people that um I don't want to jump the gun on things too quickly. Even though I might be high on prospects and high on players, I don't want to jump the gun. I want to learn a little bit more about them before I speak on them. Because I'll keep it a buck with you. Like I'm not too deep into college basketball. I did watch a lot of college basketball, but I this past year. But I mainly tapped into UConn. I'm from Connecticut, and then I also tapped into just mainly the top three or four prospects because of the fact that I was of the understanding that my Brooklyn Nets were going to get a top three pick. We had top three lottery odds. We ended up with the sixth pick. So I I'll be real. I didn't know much about any of the guys from the 5 through 8 mocks. I mainly was looking at the 1 through 4, which is the bands, the Boozer, Peterson, and Wilson. I thought that my Nets were going to end up with one of them, but we end up with Michael Brown Jr. out of Louisville, point guard, really explosive, a very very athletic point guard. Only real knock on him is the fact that he didn't play the whole season at Louisville. He had a back injury, which sidelined him. There was a lot of controversy at Louisville over if he decided to rest on its own merit after going into tournament time where he wasn't available, and many think that that was by choice versus him um not physically being able to play. It was a business decision, um and that's really the only knock on him. While the other guy that they compared, or not even compared, but the other guy that they could have seen Brooklyn taking in Darius Acuff is kind of the opposite in that regard, where the dude was in a walking boot, in a game that would have affected seeding, and he decided to play on that ankle, and he dropped 44 points. So there was a question about for Mikael Brown about intangibles, but going into college, Mikael Brown was ranked fifth on mocks. Um, Even though Acuff had the better stat line, he's the worst defender. Wagler has the length, so that's why Wagler went ahead of Mikael Brown. But as a Brooklyn fan, I'm actually happy with this pick because I know the type of system that we want to run, and we don't really want an ISO guard. Acuff is going to be good. In my opinion, I think Acuff is going to be a good point guard. Um, I don't see the Damian Lillard comparisons that everybody's making out there, like the Bill Simmons of the world, like talking about, oh yeah, this guy. I see a lot of Dame. Like I personally don't. He doesn't have the explosiveness to be Dame, and the only reason why a lot of people are saying that is because Darius Acuff shot 44% from three. Mikael Brown fits the Dame mode from a physical perspective a lot more than Darius Acuff does. The only thing is that his 3 point percentage in college isn't going to tell you that. Though his free throw percentage and his true shooting percentages will tell you that he's going to eventually become a 40%, you know, 3 point shooter in due time. He shot 34% from three last year. He averaged 18 points a game. And that was on a high volume of threes. He took like seven threes a game. So Mikael Brown Jr. isn't gonna pop overnight. He's gonna be I wouldn't even consider him a project. I'm high on him to the point to say, I'm not, like I said, I don't like to go off on a limb, but I could very well see him finishing with a first team all rookie selection. I could see him being a rookie of the year candidate. But I think Acuff's path to getting those things are a lot more simple than Mikael Brown Jr. Right now, the Brooklyn Nets are in a position right now where we're trying to raise our floor. So we acquired Julius Randle. We're still in the midst of looking for other players to acquire. I've heard rumblings about Trey Murphy Jr., and I would absolutely love that move. From a free agency perspective, we've been looking at Mitchell Robinson. We've been looking at Walker Kessler. We've been looking at Jalen Duren for a possible center move. I also like the Rui Hachimura rumors that are going around. I think he would be an excellent fit coming off of the bench for us. Or if there's a ever a time where Michael Porter Jr. misses some time, then we can have somebody like Rui who's somewhat proven as a role player in this league and somebody that can step in and make some plays. But I think on the high end, we should go get somebody like Trey Murphy Jr. I think he would change the trajectory of this team from a defensive perspective. He's only 24 years old. And even if we had to give up MPJ to do it, I'd be fine with it because systematically he fits more. He's not as much of a volume shooter, but he also could be in a position in Brooklyn where he could take that next step and prove that he could be a first or second star on a contender. Just because of his two-way, prowess. I think the one thing, the Pelicans can hold their head high on one thing. They develop wings well. They don't develop anything else well though. That's the problem with the Pelicans. They don't develop shit else well, and they're a terrible organization from a cap perspective and from a deal perspective. But whenever they luck in the wings, they develop them pretty well. You know what I mean? I will give them some credit in that regard, and I would love to get Trey Murphy Jr. There's even some rumblings about a three-way trade that sends Jaylen Brown to New Orleans and sends Trey Murphy Jr. To Brooklyn and Michael Porter Jr. to Boston, along with there was somebody else from New Orleans. I forgot who else it was. Um, the other wing that they have, not Trey Murphy, but there's another wing that they have that's really good. I forgot his name. Damn, dude. But yeah, I've seen some mocks that it's a three-way trade to help Boston out, and if that's the only way I'd want to help Boston out. Truthfully, I don't want to. I don't even want to give Boston any picks. I don't want to do shit that's gonna, because we got bad luck with that shit, dog. If you're a Brooklyn Nets fan, we got bad luck with that shit. If we trade any picks to Boston, that shit is about to. Tyron Stokes will be on the Boston Celtics next year. Mark my fucking words. I'm not trying to do that shit, bro. I'm not. I'm not trying to do that shit. I want us to, if we're gonna like trade with contenders to help teams contend for championships next year, we need to win. We need to be the winner of all those trades. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. If you want to do a one-off with New Orleans and you send them, MPJ or whatever, that's cool. You know what I mean? I'm cool with it. But at the end of the day, I do think that adding in Mikel Brown Jr. Now you got somewhat of an idea about how you want to execute your offense next season. If we were to go out there today, lace up today, you'd have Mikel Brown Jr. at point. You would have Nolan Traore at point. However way you want to do it. Jordy Fernandez is kind of funny in that regard, where I could see Mikel Brown Jr. being the sixth man to start the year just because he's a rookie, and you give Nolan Traore the keys to the offense, and you let him, live or die. Honestly, you let him live or die. You see what you have, because latter half of the season, you played him, um, and he fucking overachieved, and we won a few games that we should have fucking lost. That would have put us in better draft position. So guess what? If you're gonna do that shit, you better go all in. I don't want to see Nolan Traore in the G at all next year. He better be in the rotation. He better be playing. Yegor Demon starting at the two. I think that's pretty solidified. If you want to move him to the three, if we were to acquire a Murphy, you could do that, and then we could go small ball and play MPJ at the four. I wouldn't even be opposed to that, just because of the simple fact that um, MPJ is a decent rebounder, and then you could put Juju at the five if you really want to. But I want Dayron in the starting lineup, so I would probably put Yegor at the two, MPJ at the three, Julius Randle at the four, and then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna play Dayron Sharp at the five. I don't think Sean Marks is confident in Dayron Sharp at the five, though he is like a per minute beast. He does still make I wouldn't even call it rookie mistakes, but he makes young player mistakes. And for a player going into year five, year six, you don't want to see them make as many mistakes as they used to. That's one thing that I appreciated with Clax. Clax wasn't really a turnover machine. He actually averaged a career high in assists last year, and really showed that he could be a playmaking big in, if put in the right position. But I do think Clax is more of a pick and roll type of guy. with the ability to play make, and we don't do P&R. So Dayron is more of a dribble handoff guy, even though I think he would, any big, truthfully, would benefit from a P&R system because they're the roller. But we want to move the ball, and that's why we have a lot of players off ball. Every player that's going to be off ball is going to have the ability to shoot, and that's going to be, eye opening for this team and just for everyone involved in the offense and in the rotation because once you have five, legit shooters out there, you can't really key in on any of them, and that's going to be the key with Michael Brown. Michael Brown has the ability to not to how do I put it? He has the ability to impact the game without dominating the ball, and I think that's the big difference between getting him and getting A Cuff, where A Cuff kind of needs the ball in his hand, and he's very isocentric in that way. And that's why the big comparison to him is Jalen Brunson, because Jalen Brunson is the same way. Jalen Brunson can't necessarily impact the game. He can shoot off ball, no problem, but he likes to dribble pull up. He likes to dribble midi. That's like his bag. So Acuff is the same way in that regard. And I'm a Brooklyn Net fan, but I'm a realist at the end of the day. Acuff could be a fucking perennial all-star, bro. He has the talent, he has the high shooting percentage, he has the high clip, but I think that it's a little disingenuous, and it's okay that everybody loves to just shit on Brooklyn because we haven't given anyone a reason to be confident in us. Let me say that first and foremost, and let me be very transparent when I say that. We have not given um any basketball fans a reason to be like, yeah, the Brooklyn Nets, they're doing all the right things. When I hear the Bill Simmons bullshit, Bill Simmons likes to just shit on the Nets for engagement. He knows that he's gonna get views and clicks by shitting on the Nets. So until we fucking like get to the conference finals or really start making noise, that's the only way he'll ever say that he was fucking wrong about Michael Brown Jr. But say we had taken A Cuff at 6 and Michael Brown Jr. at 7, he wouldn't have been as high on Acuff as he was when he was talking about the Sacramento pick. He would have immediately pointed to the defensive flaws that Acuff has and how Brooklyn should have probably taken somebody with more two-way potential like Mikel Brown Jr. Trust me. Either way it go, we would have gotten shitted on by him. So I don't really pay no mind to him. But the other people, like other Knicks fans out there and just other people in basketball, like I'll give you a dead example, like the Jeff Teagues of the world, right? Talking about what is Brooklyn doing? I don't know what they're doing. You go to Brooklyn to die. All this bullshit, dog. With that mentality, we would just be the worst team every single year and just not make any fucking moves to get better. That sounds stupid as fuck. I'm sorry, bro. You sound dumb as hell by saying some shit like that. How the fuck you gonna say, oh, well, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. By acquiring Julius Randle, you raise your floor. With the lottery system changing and the way that the odds are changing, finishing with bottom three odds are more of a detriment than finishing middle of the pack. That's why you acquire good talent and you try to fucking win. If I get to a play-in game or if I get to a 7-8 seed next year, that's a fucking W because guess what? In the lottery, I might have a chance to finish with a top pick. That is why you raise your fucking floor, dog. Now, granted, we don't own our pick next year. Houston owns our pick. But at the same time, we cannot wait another year without, suck because we don't own our pick. So we have to raise our floor regardless. There's no point in just wasting a year. Oh, yeah, let's see how these guys develop. It doesn't make sense. You make a move, you raise your floor. We're going to go from 21 wins to 31 wins, 21 wins to 35 wins. It ain't about fucking jumping. It's unrealistic for anyone to expect us to jump from 21 wins to 61 wins. That shit doesn't happen, dog. And I just really get upset at people that are just disingenuous. There's a difference between being real about the moves we're making and just saying objectively, like, I don't like these moves that the Nets are making. And then saying, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Because, no, like, our front office, and I give Sean Marks a bunch of shit all the time. He has fucked up a lot. And a lot of the time, I get it. Some of the things weren't in his control. Trading for James Harden, in my opinion, it wasn't in his control. I think at some point Sean Marks lost his cojones when it came to KD and Kyrie, and he kind of let them walk all over him, and it kind of fucked up the team. Because if you would have, and this is just my opinion, if you would have rocked with Kenny Atkinson, stayed with him, and I get it, a lot of back and forth about the rotation, all this bullshit, blah blah blah. If you would have just opted for a tougher coach like Kenny Atkinson that would have really driven these dudes, or hell, hired Ime Udoka because you had fucking Ime Udoka in the fucking building. You let him go to Boston. So if we would have just hired Ime or something, right? Either way, if we would have just rocked with Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, and then just built through the draft, or waited a couple of years for another star to become available that wasn't James Harden, I'm telling y'all, we would have been better off. We probably would have a ring right now. But that's neither hearsay. You feel me? Like at the end of the day, I don't regret anything as a Net fan. I rooted for them. We were a toenail away from the conference finals, you know? And I don't even give KD a bunch of bullshit because I think at the end of the day, KD just did what, he worked with what he had. These dudes played 21 games together out of a possible 120 or some shit like that, 100 and something games. So they couldn't build that chemistry, and they still were nearly a game away from the conference finals. So I say that to say, Sean Marks, even though I personally think he's gotten a lot of fucking chances and he's fucked up a lot of times, I do think that this offseason, I like what he's doing. He's showing me that he's willing to be aggressive without being reckless. So that's cool with me. You know, let's get some. If you want to get some more salary dumps, that's cool. The one thing that he did mention pre-draft that I am paying a lot of attention to within this week coming up is he did mention that if we are to make a move for a max player, it's going to be somebody that changes the trajectory of this team and automatically makes us a contender. The only player that I personally see, in my opinion, doing that is Jaylen Brown. And I don't really want to trade for Jaylen Brown because, once again, I don't want to give the Celtics anything. I'm just pessimistic in that regard where I think them niggas are going to get the second coming of fucking Michael Jordan in one of those drafts because of how the way life works. And then we're going to be our fucking ceiling with Jaylen Brown will be a second round exit. I'm just it's just bad luck to trade with them dudes, bro. And I'm just not of that. Realistically, and I'll talk about this in another video, but I do have a conspiracy to what I think Sean Marks is up to, and it's not going to be done this offseason. It's going to be done next offseason. But it's all dependent on a couple of moves that were made last week and how those moves panned out. And I'll talk about that in another video. But it's right now it's a conspiracy because nothing has materialized. I just think Sean Marks is paying attention to next year. And I'll leave it at that when it comes to that. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited to be a Nets fan for the first time in a long time. And when the lottery odds came out, I was fucking devastated. And I didn't know any of the players. I didn't know, I didn't, I went and I, studied Darius Acuff. I went and studied Keaton Wagler. I went and looked at Mikael Brown Jr. I went and looked at Nate Ament. I honestly thought we were going to fucking take Kareem Lopez because I listened to too many people on fucking Twitter. So I went and looked at his highlights. I thought there was some endless possibilities. I thought we possibly were looking to trade down and acquire a vet while trading down, and then we would have taken somebody like Mara or Ament at like 11 or 12. But we get our guy, bro. We get number 0. We get Mikael Brown Jr., Louisville guy, cool with Donovan Mitchell. He's actually cool with Dame too, and has number 0 because of Dame. Um, his player comp, in my opinion, he reminds me of a more athletic Hallie in a sense where great passer, but also a reckless passer. I think Halliburton, when he first came into the league, was like super um I can't even explain the word. Like he just was super loose with the ball, and in time Halliburton learned how to be a very good floor general. And I think Mikael Brown Jr. has the same trajectory, and I think that the shooting is very similar too to what Halliburton was. But yeah, man, I'm gonna let y'all go, bro. It's your boy Zaho Facts, and this is Talking Sporty. I'll be back within the week, man. Free agency coming up on Tuesday. That's when teams can start, tampering and shit. So I'll be back within the mix, man. To get back with, to y'all with all these moves, all these trades coming up. Um, Definitely will be back, y'all.
Stop the motherfucking pack. Yo.
Shall I begin? Pussy niggas get served. Another bridge to burn. Either live or you learn. Digits get earned. Off the head top, it ain't perm. Never been the type to curl like big worm. Catch your fade over your shoulder. Try to test my release. You get deceased. Smoke like the kush overseas from Middle East. No beast. I ain't touched that shit since 12 or 13. Ducking 12 from lurking while we skelling murk things. Kinda clock my life and still laughing most of the timeline. Try to come between me and Fetty, a fine line.